10 today who literally has all the energy in the world, who feels like they're on top of the world? Anybody? Whoa, that's great. That's amazing. Does anybody feel exhausted, honestly? Does anybody feel like they could fall asleep at their desk? Could anybody use more energy? Okay, perfect, because I'm here today to hopefully pep you up and hopefully encourage you to fuel your body in a way that will give you more energy. So, you guys have been running for a while. This is what you guys do multiple times a week, am I right? Like how many hours a week would you guys say you run? 20. Okay.
Right, 5 to 6.
5 to 6, okay. All right, so we're going to talk about health and wellness today, but I want to bring you guys back to my high school, if I can figure out how to click it. There we go. So, does anyone guess how old I am? Be nice. 32? I'll take that. I'm 35, and this is me back in high school. High school does not feel that far off from now. Like, I can't believe I feel like I was just sitting in your seat, like, trying to figure out who I was. And I will tell you, high school was a really challenging time for me because I, number one, did not know how to care for myself whatsoever. I was trying to figure out what to do in my life and what to do. I was in the drama club, I was dancing, I was very busy and active. And I remember telling myself a lie, I don't know if you guys do this, where I will eat when I'm dead, I will sleep when I'm dead, I will, drink water when I have time, and I'm invincible, I'm young, I'm invincible, right? Well, I don't know if anybody has a Frappuccino addiction, but I did. And I would start my morning off on the way to high school, already running late, going to Starbucks, and showing up with Starbucks in my hands, and saying there was traffic, when really I went to Starbucks. And then I would, not pack food. I would go through my day exhausted, then go to the vending machine, grab something sweet, and what do you know? It was just this constant cycle of fueling my body with garbage and then crashing later, right? So in 2008, though, a year after I graduated high school, I actually developed an eating disorder. I had gone through a lot of body changes, and I wasn't happy with who I was, and sadly, instead of embracing that person and loving that person, I ended up doing all I could to lose weight, and I did it in a really unhealthy way. So I slowly but surely would start, skipping meals and seeing how little food I could get away with, and still going to dance or still doing all these things, until one day it really backfired. And I found myself feeling so depleted I wasn't even able to hardly get out of bed. And thankfully, my journey, unlike many others, only lasted a year, and I was actually hooked up with an amazing practitioner who introduced me to whole real foods. And truly, I had never looked at food as the way she taught me, and I had always looked at food as a way to get by. Well, in 2008, 2009, I was able to start looking at food as medicinal. I started asking myself every time I ate something, is this medicinal? Is this gonna bless me? Is this medicine for my body? Or is this poison? Right? I had never thought of food that way. And the more I slowly but surely did, everything changed. So I started getting in the kitchen for the first time in my life, and as you might see in the book, I have lots of recipes. I've created my own recipes for 15 years now. And I started just having fun with real whole foods. And what came out of that, something that completely shocked me. I not only got my energy back and my hormones balanced and my depression and anxiety completely went away and my skin cleared up and all these things, but I became this version of myself that I never had met before. I was this person full of vitality, and I had so much passion to give back and energy. And then that's where I got this passion for health and wellness, because I knew if I could be that sick and depleted and lose myself and then find myself in the kitchen making these whole foods and healing my body, I knew I had to go talk to people about it. So now I've been a nutritionist, having my own nutritional consulting company for 14 years, and trying to help change the world. So I want to not complicate, the world's complicated it. I want to simplify health and wellness. Does anybody feel that there's a lot of food noise going on right now in our world? Does anybody feel like every time they're on social media, there's a eat this, eat that, don't eat this, don't eat that? Does everybody feel the noise? Because I do, right? I have clients that come into me all the time when they start with me, and they're like, I'm so confused because I'm told to completely eliminate this food group and hyper focus on this food group, and I don't know how many macros to eat, and I'm exhausted by it. And I think what's happened in our culture is it's gotten so noisy that we're hearing all the noise from the outer world that we've completely really shut our own bodies out. So one thing I didn't know when I was your guys' age that I wish somebody had told me is that every single day, my body was speaking to me. My body was saying, hey, I need you to do this thing for me. I need you to go eat this. I need you to go drink this. I need you to go to sleep. I need you to take a pause and take a deep breath and not go from one thing to the next. I didn't know to listen to my body. And I didn't know that I could. So when I shut out the world and I started tuning in and learning intuitive living, intuitive eating, it changed my life. And that's what I now teach clients to do. So we're shutting out the noise and we're tuning in and we're saying, body, what do you need today to feel your best? How much sleep do you need? What do you need to do to rewire mentally? And slowly but surely, your body does teach you. Your body does speak to you. So there are 6 essential nutrients. And again, our culture has really complicated this, but it's not that complicated, I promise. We have our macronutrients and our micronutrients. So we have our carbohydrates, our protein, our fat, water, which makes up 70 to 80% of our body, and then vitamins and minerals. So if you look back to our ancestors 100 years ago, they did not complicate health and wellness. They ate from the farm, right? They dug up the potatoes. They were moving outside. They were getting natural vitamin D. They weren't up till 2 a.m. on TikTok because they didn't have electricity. So they were going to sleep on time. And you know, our world has complicated things, right? But really, we just used to eat from the farm. We used to be outside and things have changed. So macronutrients, micronutrients, at the end of our day, we want to say, am I missing anything? Did I get what my body needed, right? Am I hyper-focusing on one food group and eliminating another? All of this makes sense. When we start doing that, we can start eliminating the noise, right? So my motto is really just eat real food. And this is something that, this sounds so simple, but if you think about it, you need to just ask yourself the question, how far did my food come to get to my plate? So picture an apple versus applesauce. You know, a sweet potato versus potato chips. Did this go to a factory? Was this processed? Is the nutritional value as it was when it was picked off the farm? So the closer we can eat to nature, our body can recognize that nutrients. Calories are a lie. And this is something else that I wish I had known. Calories are just a unit of energy, but it's not a math equation. It's a chemistry equation. I can have one client eating the same amount of calories as another client, but one is eating whole, real foods, feeling amazing, having all this energy. The next person is exhausted and depleted and eating the same amount of calories, but they're processed. The body's so starved for nutrients that they don't have the energy to show up, and that was once me. So simply asking yourself the question, how far did my food come to get to my plate, is pivotal. So runners, you guys are all runners, so I want to talk to you guys specifically today. I'm sure you all know protein is important, right? Well, protein helps with muscle repair and growth, which improves endurance. But one thing I see, especially with my athletic clients, is that there's so much emphasis on protein and not enough on carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are our body's #1 source of energy. And when we're not giving our body enough, multiple things happen. Our hormones start dysfunctioning, our thyroid gland actually cannot function properly, and we start fizzling out. So we have protein though. Protein needs to be paired with carbohydrates, right? So we have our grains, we have our beans, we have our fruits, our vegetables, our sweet potatoes, right? Oats. There's so many amazing gluten-free whole grains and carbohydrates we can eat all day long, every single day to fuel our body. And a lot of people don't realize fruits and vegetables are an amazing source of carbohydrates as well. So we want protein paired with carbohydrates, especially for you runners, because this helps replenish something called our glycogen stores. Does anybody know what glycogen is? Because I did not at your age, so you get bonus points if you do. Yes?
Glycogen, basically just a stored version of sugar within the liver. I'm trying to make sure I'm
Liver
correct.
and muscle.
Yeah.
Very good, amazing, yes. So we eat something, and our body converts whatever we eat into glucose. Well, so we're gonna pretend this is a storage room, right? The extra glucose comes in the room, and this is our storage room, right? For later, when we're running that race and we run out of fuel, we need that storage room capacity, those energy reserves, in order to keep us going. So when we are depleted of glycogen because we're not eating enough, and this happens all the time. I was a dancer, I was not eating enough, and again, it sizzled out. Sorry boys, last my menstrual cycle for 6 months, I was in a really hard place mentally because my hormones were so impacted because I was so underfed. when I started fueling my glycogen stores again, not only did I see the muscle that I wanted, but I also started feeling better. So we want to make sure we're not just having protein, but we're having carbohydrates too. And really, when it comes to how much, this again is complicated, but it doesn't have to be in our culture. It's half your body weight in ounces a day is really what you want to aim for, around minimum. Like, you don't want to go below that. So that could be a simple day of just saying, I'm going to take what I'm eating and add up how much protein I'm getting. The same goes for water. So however much you weigh, you want to cut that in half, and that's how much you want to get in ounces of water. So it's a simple equation that we can do just to make sure we're not far off track. I've had some adult clients that were working out that were eating 1/4 of the protein that they should be getting and not having the results. So all of that makes a difference, just to take that time to add that up. So here's some amazing sources of whole food protein sources. I think we have so much emphasis on protein shakes right now and protein bars, and those are great. There's a couple that I love. But in general, we want to back to eating whole foods from the farm. Eat as fresh as possible. Whole foods our body can recognize. Our body can't recognize these chemicals, right? Our body wants real whole foods, just like our ancestors ate. So we have our grains. As you see, we have our oats, we have some rice, we have some seeds, and then we have our eggs, we have our nuts, our salmon, our beef, our chicken, and this is just a beautiful, I think, picture of what a day's, maybe not that much protein in a day, but the picture of real whole foods, what they can look like. And I just will recommend getting in the kitchen with your parents, getting in the kitchen on the weekends. Start now, because when you get older, it's not easy, right? To figure out how to live in a maybe college dorm if you've never been in a kitchen. So get in the kitchen, make a recipe each weekend, try to experiment with some spices, some whole foods, help your parents make dinner, and that really will help you as you go forward. So I want to share a little bit about what happens when we go to low carb. And again, I see this all the time. A lot of the times where, again, me who was struggling with my body image and trying to lose weight, I didn't understand what I was actually doing to my metabolism when I diminished carbohydrates to the degree that I did. So our body actually arises to the occasion, right? So of how many calories or how much nutrients we give it. So picture a bonfire, right? If we're just giving it a little bit of kindling here and there, it's not going to be burning for us, right? Our energy is not going to be elevated, our metabolism is not going to be elevated. But when we actually give our body what it needs, we not only have energy, but our metabolism stays elevated, so we can maintain that energy. So carbohydrates, again, they're stored in our muscle and our liver as glycogen, and then every gram of glycogen stored, that actually stores 3 to 4 grams of water. So I'm assuming you guys sweat a lot when you're running, right? You want to hold on to that water. You don't want to be sweating too much, and this helps your body stay hydrated. So actually, eating enough carbohydrates and protein allows your body to hold on to the right amount of water. When we are underfed or not eating enough carbohydrates and we deplete our glycogen stores, then we lose water, and it's this vicious cycle. And then what do you know? We're feeling like garbage, and we can get halfway through a race, and then we're done, right? So we don't want that to happen. So we want to make sure we're getting enough. Now, when it comes to race day, race day, this is a little different, but when it comes to practice, I'll say, fueling up 30 minutes before you go do your practice, go do your run, is going to be important, and 30 minutes afterwards, because again, if you think about it, your body's needing that fuel, that glycogen, and that glucose to get you through the race, and then afterwards you're depleted. So it's very important. And when it comes to timing as well, it's just important to eat within an hour of waking up and also drink water. When we wake up in the morning, we're in a state of hypoglycemia, and we lost about 1 liter of water as we've all slept. So this is not only important, the timing of our food when we are about to race, but really making sure we start our day on the right foot. Now, race day, you've noticed that it's better for them to be like an hour before practice, yeah. So we were talking ahead of time. So not fueling up too much right before, but maybe an hour before your actual race would be beneficial. Again, picture peanut butter and a banana. There's so many options you can pack for you. I love blueberries, and I love, almonds. Like, there's so many things you can bring that are portable that you don't have to refrigerate. But just experimenting with that. In fact, who is my book? You have my book? Can I borrow my book for 1 second? I just want to show you guys. So we're actually going to go there. I realized. there's, on my book, I actually have energy bars. I have a lot of, on page 85, strawberry no bake energy bars. And they're on my blog as well. I'm going to show you guys the ingredients. But those would really fuel you up. Even as a teen, you guys can make them and keep them in your fridge. Okay, so actually I forgot I had it up on here. I'm sorry. So when we talk about eating real whole foods, we need to take the guesswork out of it, the numbers out of it. We just need to focus on foods from nature, one ingredient whole foods without a label. These give you a ton of energy. I created them because I wanted more energy. I wanted my clients to have energy, especially my athletes. So 2 cups of quick oats, an amazing gluten-free grain to fuel you up, lots of fiber. The raw honey is a natural sweetener, so we're not using refined sugar. Melted almond butter and chopped almonds, that's a healthy fat and a plant-based protein that stabilizes your blood sugar. Remember, we don't want to be eating Chips Ahoy cookies in a bag, spiking our glucose and crashing 20 minutes later. We want sustained energy. So, and then we have our chopped strawberries, that's our antioxidants, that's our carbohydrates. Flaxseed, healthy fat and protein. Coconut oil, healthy fat. And then last but not least, ground cinnamon, which is an amazing spice that stabilizes your blood sugar. Actually, my diabetic clients all take it. It's, in a way, nature's insulin. So it's an amazing, this combination right here, they're no bake. You mix them in a bowl, you flatten them in a pan, you put them in the fridge, and they harden, and you have these cute little, squares when you're done of energy bites, energy bars. So I do want to talk about the gut-brain connection. Has anybody ever had a stomach ache before a race from nerves? Yeah? How about during a race? Okay, yeah. So this is so pivotal, and this is something, again, that was not taught to me in high school that I had to learn years later. So the vagus nerve is, does anybody know what the vagus nerve is? I didn't know either at your age, it's okay. So we have this, the yellow vein that you see lit up here, or the nerve, I'm sorry, it's the 10th cranial nerve at the bottom of our base of our neck that follows down to the base of our spine. It's called the wandering nerve. So what it does is our brain communicates to it, and it ping pong balls off the rest of our vital organs, communicating to them how to function. So say we're really stressed out before a race. Public speaking does that to me. You guys are great, but I had to be on TV at the beginning of this year and I almost died. So I was feeling sick to my stomach, and this is what happens. So you get the mental stress, you get the anxiety. Well, the brain mirrors the gut. So we have the first brain, then the second gut. The gut is the second brain. So if we're feeling anxious up here, guess what? What do we notice? We're starting to feel this reflection in our stomach. We're having the butterflies in our stomach, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, bloating, or gas. And what we don't quite understand, many of us aren't taught this, that's actually our nervous system. Our body is set in fight or flight. So we have the sympathetic nervous system and we have the parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is our fight or flight, right? We're gearing up for that race. We're gearing up for that test. We're stuck in a little bit of a higher state of anxiety. Parasympathetic state is our relaxed and refreshed mode. We're not feeling heat up anymore. So we want to make sure that we are really helping our nervous system when it's stuck in that fight or flight mode before a race. And there's a couple of things, again, the mental stress, even stressing about the race can impact your gut. And then low blood sugar actually signals to the brain and to the nervous system, hey, there is danger, okay, we're not all right. And we have to, now we're gonna trigger this gut dysfunction. We're gonna wake you up in a sense. And so we're gonna have the nausea again. It's this vicious cycle. And so that's oftentimes where people are like, I don't know what happened to me, but all of a sudden I was throwing up before the race. And it's anxiety, right? It's the brain-gut connection. They mirror each other. So, there's a few things, 6 things, we can all do to let our body know it's safe so this doesn't impact your race. Because I know you guys are here because you love to run and nobody wants to feel like garbage on a race day, right? So again, the first thing we can do is eat whole foods that our body recognizes. One of the worst things we can do for our nervous system is eat garbage that will spike our blood sugar and crash it later. That's really hard on our system, right? So not skipping meals is important. Sleeping 8 hours a night. Can anybody tell me what time do you guys usually go to bed? Just curious. Like as teenagers, I don't know. Yes?
Actually, mine's not very long. It was like
8:30?
Yeah, but I go to bed really early.
I'm so jealous. That's amazing. I would love to go to 8. My kids wouldn't let me, but that's amazing. Okay, but in general, do you guys get 8 hours of sleep? Yeah?
Oh, I was gonna say, I usually go to bed at 10, but I wake up like 2 to 3 times
Oh,
per
man.
night, so.
Talk to your doctor about magnesium.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing though, when we're not getting enough sleep, that's when our body rests and repairs. And our nervous system actually can reset. So if we're always on this hamster wheel of life, mentally and physically, and we're not resting and repairing for those 8 hours, we're going to have dysfunction later in the day, the next day, right? And that can impact our gut, our mood, our energy levels. So sleeping is so important. And to be honest with you, I did not care about sleep at your age, and I paid for it later. And I learned the hard way and now I really just love sleep, and I realize how healing it is. So start sleeping now. Get those 8 hours in, and you'll thank yourself. Limiting sugar and caffeine. Do you guys drink coffee? Does anybody do caffeine? No? That's good. Yes, you do? Coffee? Okay. I do love coffee. But moderation. You want to stop it before 10 a.m. I'm sorry, after 10 a.m. You don't want to be having more because that can impact your sleep that night. And try to stick to 1 cup of coffee if you were to have it. Sugar. Again, sugar really raises the glucose and spikes it. I'm sure we've all felt that sugar crash, right? Where you're like, I can tell now I'm about to fall asleep. I should have eaten something different. And drinking half your body weight in ounces of water a day. I'm sorry. Very important. Again, actually a way to really freak your body out is a state of dehydration. Your body senses very quickly when you're in a state of dehydration. So making sure you're drinking before your race, obviously not too close to the actual race, so you're not feeling wish-washy in your tummy, bloated, but making sure you're hydrating before and after, and really taking a day just to add up how many ounces of water you're actually getting. It's shocking how many people will think they're getting a lot of water, but they're drinking this ice cold pitcher and they're just taking little sips here and there, and they get to the end and they're like, I've only drank 20 ounces today, you know? So it's important to add it up. And making time for rest, fun, and laughter. So that vagus nerve actually can be toned like a muscle. And when we tone it by actually laughing is a way to tone it, and singing and just having fun, our vagus nerve actually can function more optimally and communicates to the rest of our organs to function more optimally as well. So we have to be careful. In high school, I'll be honest, like I was a go-getter. I wanted the good grades. I wanted to impress my parents and all these things, and I didn't have a balance in my life. So really making sure you're having time for your brain to unwind it every single day and taking time for rest and relaxation is very important for your overall health. And the last thing, does anybody do yoga? No? Okay. Square breathing. This is very important. This will change your life and it's free. We can all do it. So, does anybody know the first thing that we typically do when we get anxious? Anybody guess? Yes.
Breathing rate, or trying breathing rate to get more oxygen in and out, but that can also inadvertently lead us to not hypoxia, hyperventilation.
So yes, but actually the first thing you're right on track, but we typically hold our breath without realizing it. We typically hold our breath and we don't realize it, right? So we actually will tense up and breathe in less oxygen, which keeps us in the sympathetic fight or flight freeze state. So what I want you guys to do before a race, and we're gonna all do this together, I want you guys to do something called a box breath or square breathing. This will change your race. It will change everything for you. And if you're feeling that queasiness in your stomach, 9 times out of 10, it will actually stop. It will halt it because we're going to be calming the nervous system down. So I want you guys to all do this with me. We're gonna breathe in our nose for 5 seconds. Picture the box. And then we're gonna hold it at the top for 5 seconds. Remember, we're gonna force our body to actually take that oxygen in when it's anxious, when it doesn't want to. So then we're gonna relax our jaw and we're gonna breathe out our mouth. And you might feel silly doing this, but I promise you I do this at stoplights. I do this all the time. It's amazing. And then you're just gonna pause for 5 seconds. And typically, if you're feeling anxious, you wanna do that 3 times in a row. What that's gonna do is instantly shift your body out of the sympathetic fight or flight, oh my gosh, I'm scared about this race, state, to the rest and digest mode where you're able to actually calm down and perform way better, trust me. So, okay, can everybody do this with me real quick? I want you guys to breathe in for 5 seconds, okay? Through your nose, not your mouth. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax your jaw and let it out. And drop your shoulders. Any more breath. Okay, you feel that? Does anybody feel a little calmer? Maybe not yet, but if you do it 3 times, you will. Does anybody feel that in their body? Does anybody feel that? If you feel tension in your shoulders, I promise you, if you practice this before a race, before a test, anytime, even to help go to sleep, it will really help your body relax. So that's just something you can do next time you're feeling anxious, okay? And couple last things. We really want to eliminate repeat gut offenders. So it's not just our nervous system, it's not just the anxiety we feel. There are certain foods that we can actually take in that can cause certain things like leaky gut syndrome. Does anybody know what leaky gut is? So leaky gut, picture our gut lining as a wall, and it's a little, leaky gut is actually what happens when we eat certain foods that make our gut more permeable. It makes the tight junctions in our gut that are supposed to protect our body from toxins and bacteria and things we eat that are supposed to just keep in our gut and carry out our bowels. It actually allows those toxins to leach into our bloodstream. And this can cause crazy systemic inflammation. So, certain foods can do this. And just picture a screen, right? We punctured little tiny holes in our gut lining wall, and now we're inflamed, and now we're feeling anxious, and we're having gut issues. So, we have the microbiome. It's trillions of little microbes and bacteria that live in the human gut. A lot of things can disrupt that, and this can also equal constipation or diarrhea or nausea. So we have gluten. Gluten is in wheat, barley, and rye, but also in a lot of processed foods. The good news is now it is so easy to eat gluten-free. My entire blog and my book is gluten-free. There's rice, there's popcorn, there's quinoa, there's so many gluten-free grains out there. I think there's a misconception when I talk to people about going gluten-free. They think they can never bread or pasta. Absolutely not. There's amazing gluten-free brands out there, and I make my own as well of certain recipes. So you have to just check the label, right? Dairy can be really disruptive to a lot of people. Again, tune into your body, get to know your body. I'm not somebody that does well with dairy, but oat milk, almond milk, there's coconut milk. These are in ice cream versions as well. So there's you can get almost anything in a non-dairy version now. And then lastly, processed foods, sugar. So all 3 of these can really disrupt your gut microbiome and cause leaky gut syndrome and an overgrowth of bacteria, of bad bacteria. So I've had clients that have had diarrhea for years and years and years, and they couldn't understand what was happening. Sometimes it was a combination of their nervous system. They were stuck in fight or flight. We had to work on that. But also they were always bringing in every single day these disruptive foods, and it was triggering this gut inflammation. So as soon as we eliminated some of these, they started feeling amazing and they could show up for their life. So I want to teach you guys a little something just to finish off. 2 more slides. You guys have been great. Thank you so much. The body scan. Now, this sounds hippy-dippy, but this will, again, change your life, because the older you get, the more noise you're going to hear in this world about what to do and what not to do. And God made your body unique. This is your body. And it's actually speaking to you every day, all day. So every single day, we can actually grade our body and see where we're at and see what we need to tweak and what we need to work on. Unless we do this, we will never know. So what your body might need might be a little different than your best friend's body, right? And that's okay. We're supposed to be unique. So every single day, I want you to wake up and ask yourself, all right, on a 1 to 10 scale, how was my sleep last night? Does anybody grade themselves on a 1 to 10? Who had a 10, the best sleep of their life? 1, worst sleep of their life? Have any 10s? 10? It's amazing. That's great. All right. Any 1s? Anybody sleep horribly? Right? Yeah? Okay. So that would be you grading yourself. Wait, what did I do? Let me go back. I slept horribly. You know what? I stayed up on TikTok till 2 a.m. and I actually drank caffeine all day, and I ate up until bedtime, and I never unwound. I was just nervous about my test. You can actually learn from your body and figure out what kept you from sleeping. Then the second part, digestion. Do I have bloating, gas, discomfort, constipation, diarrhea? That would rate us out of 1. But we want to be at a 10. We don't want any of that. If you have a day where you're really struggling, pause. Go back 24 hours. Ask yourself, what did I eat yesterday? How much stress was I under, right? Ask your body these questions. Energy on a 1 to 10. How am I? I think somebody said they were a 10, right? Were you the 10? Or that was your sleep? You're a 10. You're a 10. Okay, I love that. So that would be like, I got this right. Apparently my body loved the way I fed it. I slept enough. My body's happy with me, right? I need to keep doing what I'm doing. But you know what? If I'm operating at a 2 or 3, I mean, I work with CEOs, people that are in the country half the time. I make them do this. And they're like, you know what? I did learn this month, Laura, that when I did this a little differently, these things changed, right? So when I took out this inflammatory food my body didn't like, my digestion was different the next day. My energy was different. Mood and mental clarity. What you're gonna find, what you eat and how you sleep and how you digest your food will impact your neurotransmitters. They will impact your brain, okay? So if you're constantly eating food in a package that is loaded with inflammatory food properties, we'll say hydrogenated vegetable oil, gluten, sugar, you might feel a little more anxious and depressed than you would if you were eating whole foods. And most of the time you won't even realize that until you actually eliminate those foods and go back to nature. But ask yourself, how am I doing today? Am I able to think clearly on this test? Am I exhausted? Am I falling asleep at my desk like I was every English class? You know, like these are questions to ask. So grade yourself on a 1 to 10 scale. And the last one is stress. Remember, if number 5 is at a 10, this is the only one we don't want a 10, all right? Everything else we want at a 10. But if that's at a 10, you will typically be able to piggyback. You'll see that the other ones piggyback off of it. Man, I'm so keyed up, I'm so stressed, now I'm not sleeping. My digestion's a mess. Remember, brain-gut connection, my energy's in the trash. You're gonna see it. So the more we can do for our stress relief, that square breathing, taking time for fun, taking time for balance, and making sure we're getting that sleep, it really, really will impact us. And the last thing, I just want to leave you guys with a quote. And again, I didn't know I could listen to my body at your age, so I hope you guys will take this message away and just remember it. Your body knows more than you think. It really, really does. So listen to it, because every single day, I want you to tune in, because your body's gonna let you know something it needs you to do for your body. Don't be looking to the right or left. Don't be asking your best friend what she ate, because even if she ate it and made her feel amazing, that meal might not be the same, result for you. You just have to tune into your body. Every time you eat a meal, 1 hour later, how do I feel? Am I feeling energetic, or is my energy crashing? Is my stomach upset, or am I feeling fine? You're gonna learn your body over time. And it took me not now, I'm now past it, but it maybe took me 25 years to get here. And I don't want that for you guys. I think if you guys could pick that up now and start really tuning in, taking care of your nervous system and getting in the kitchen,